Hi, I'm Raven and I'm a musician and artist from Brazil. Welcome. This is episode 8, and in this episode, I'm going to talk about what I've learned from producing other artists, specifically the one that I'm producing right now, which is Calopsita. She's a friend of mine that is trying to get her music recorded so we can release her new EP as soon as possible. And that's one of the things that I was trying to tell her, and one of the things that I've learned, because I had already produced my own stuff, so I was pretty sure of how long it would take for me to do everything. I write all the songs, I record all the songs, I program whatever it is that I have to program, I produce everything, and then I mix everything and I master everything, and I even do my own cover art and all that stuff. This year I plan to release another EP, and the EP has 6 songs and I'm still working on them. And in the middle of it, I'm gonna travel to Canada because my brother lives there, and I'm gonna stay there for 2 months. So it's a kind of a crazy thing that I'm doing, because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do everything that I have to do and still release it by October 31st. I love releasing it on Halloween. Anyway, for me, because I do everything and it only depends on me, of course, there are things happening in the world and in my life that can get in the way and make it take longer for me to do all those things. But in the end, it's me. It's just me. So I'll make time. I'll work for hours. I'll work during the holidays, during the weekends, nights till 5-6 a.m. I don't care, as long as I'm having fun and I want to make everything the greatest way possible so I can release my songs on the day that I've planned. Then that's fine, because it's me. I only depend on myself. So I had the experience of producing my band. So when it's my band, then there's 2 more people. It's not only me. So those 2 people have lives, they have other jobs, they have significant others, and they like to travel. Sometimes they go live somewhere else in some other country. So there are a lot of things happening that I can't control, and this is really hard for me because I'm a control freak. But this I had learned, and I had just let it go and just focused on my stuff when all things started to crumble in that way, like, oh, we're not gonna be able to release new songs as soon as I would like. We released our first EP with 3 songs during the pandemic, and then never more, because we cannot be focused enough for us 3 to be in a room to decide the post-production side of things. We are truly able to focus enough to rehearse some songs and then record them. We're gonna do that now, maybe next week. And before my drummer goes back to Portugal, because she's living there now, we can do that. We are able to do that, and I really enjoy that, because both of them plus myself, we are really into making music. So the act of going there and staying for at least 1 whole day working on the songs and putting them and recording them so we can work on them later, we are able to do that. But then the later part, the post-production part, where we have to produce the song to see if something is missing, if we have to play something else, if we have to add something else, and then go to the mixing phase and then mastering and all the things in between, including artwork. And since it was all coming back to me, it seemed like I had to do everything all those things by myself because they didn't have free time to do it. Then I was, okay, I have to make a choice. Do I want to work on this and release these songs that are from the band? Or do I want to work on my solo songs? I have the solo project. My band is called Noisy, and my solo project is this one in this channel. So for me, it was simple. I want to work on my solo stuff because, yes, I do like the songs and I want to release the songs that I've written and chose to sing in this band. I enjoy them a lot and I plan to release them, but it's a lot of work and I have to make a choice. If I work on those, I'm not going to work on my new songs that I want to release. And I told them that, especially one of them, and they are okay with it. They understand because they're not having free time to work on that either. So it's a win-win thing because no one's getting pissed off or irritated or anything. We just want to be in a band together. We would like to release more songs. We are working on new songs. We like rehearsing, we like recording. One day this is gonna happen, just not right now. And that's okay because we have our own stuff. We are satisfied wherever we are and we are good friends, so it's all fine. So I had this experience and I knew I had already been in other bands, but most of them didn't get out of the rehearsal stage. And one of them, we started recording, but then it all fell out. Some people couldn't handle the recording phase because they felt like they didn't know how to record under pressure. And I know that, I understand, because we were in the studio and there were engineers there and the person started to freak out and started having a hard time playing, and she was clearly nervous, and I do understand that because I don't like it either. I once had to record. I had never recorded in a studio before, so I was pretty intensely nervous, and it was for a movie. I was recording a song that I wrote for a soundtrack, and I recorded in my house, but they didn't really like the audio that I sent, so they wanted me to go to that studio so I could play the guitar there and they could professionally record me. Okay, that's fine, but I was pretty nervous. And when I got there, it's like that whole joke thing that as soon as you press play, you mess up everything. That was exactly what I did. And even though that was years ago when I wasn't experienced, even though I have many years recording, being recorded and everything, I'm still like that. If there's someone looking at me, expecting me to perform, even in shows, which is the worst thing ever, but when I'm doing shows, I just try to put myself in another character so I don't go through that. But when I'm sitting down and needing to perform so they can record me and it doesn't take like a million takes to get it right, I'm a pretty anxious person. So if I think about that before I start, then it's all downhill from there. And I don't remember specifically what happened on that day, the first day that I was recorded in the studio. I just remember that I got more and more anxious, and the more anxious I got, the worse it was for me to perform without making mistakes. And it was my song. That was the worst thing. It was like, I don't even know how to play my song, man. It's not a song that I'm trying to learn or that I'm forgetting because I didn't, like, it's a difficult song. No, it's my song. Anyway, I understand. That's why I'm telling you this story, because I understood the person. They hadn't ever recorded anything. They were kind of a prodigy. They would pick a random instrument and start playing, so they didn't feel like they were really a player or a musician. So all these things would play out when you were in front of someone that is recording you, and people are expecting that from you. So it didn't work. So that band was gone. Not after that, but I think that was the beginning of the end, because it was all downhill from there. Other stuff happened. It wasn't that person's fault specifically, and also not the fault of we not being able to record our songs. So I had that experience. I remember I recorded it, but I asked to be left alone in a room because I wanted to be alone. I knew the guy was looking at me through the glass, but I was with my back to him, so I couldn't see him. And even though I was kind of anxious because I knew there was someone there and someone listening, it was better for me to be alone in a room in the studio and no one there, just myself. Because if I made mistakes, then it was all on me. And the guy was pretty cool with it because he wouldn't like speak to me over the phones a lot. It was just if I had to do it again or if I have to play some part against, only that. So he would leave me alone and it was better. But that person wasn't like that. She was in the room with the guy. So it was really worse. So what I want to convey with all those stories is that I had a lot of different experiences of the process of recording something like an album or an EP. And that experience that I already had, I seemed to completely forget about it when I started producing someone else, because it wasn't me. So I was in another role. Even though I had played that role for myself and for my band, I was also the artist that I was recording. Last year was the first time that I started producing people that are not playing my songs or some of my songs or music that I had written or helped to write. So it kind of went in a way that I didn't expect, because at first I was really excited and saying, oh, we can do it because we've been rehearsing everything. I play the guitar in her band, but the songs are not mine, are all hers. So I had to learn the song. We had to, as a band, figure out how we were gonna play it, because she wrote all of that herself, only her voice and the piano, and we had to arrange it for a bigger band so we can have a guitar, a piano, drums, and maybe a bass. So we went through all that, and we had made some shows, and I was like, oh no, it's gonna be easy because we already know the songs. It's just a matter of going to the studio or coming to my studio and recording everything. It's not gonna take so long. Oh boy, was I wrong. And I knew that. That's the funny thing, because I already knew that if I had thought about all those experiences that I just told you, I would know that it wasn't going to be that simple, because there are lots of people, not only myself. Now I'm in the place that I have to guide people. So even though I play guitar and now I'm playing most of the bass in the songs, there are other people that have other instruments to play and to record, and they also have lives, and they also have other jobs, and they also have significant others. So all that stuff that I already knew, I just forgot. I think I was excited with my friend because she was the one wanting it so badly. We been talking about this for so many years, and during those years we were gathering people to form a band for her. So we've been all through that, and it took so many years that I thought that we would be quick, but it's not like that, especially when people in the band have other bands too, because they have the responsibility to other bands and to other recordings, to other shows, and to other rehearsals, and this takes time. I remember in June last year, we had already recorded one song that we had just released in a compilation I think we were pretty excited because that song took us a little time, but it wasn't a whole lot of time to record and release. So we were like, oh, it's gonna be just like this song. But there are 6 more that we want to record. And it was in June 2024. We were already planning on starting recording it. But then our drummer said, no, I don't think so. I think that I'm not ready. I think that we have to rehearse, and maybe in 2 months we can think of starting to record something. And when he said that, in that moment, I remembered all of my failed attempts of recording songs with other bands that I was in before. It was in an instant. And I instantly agreed with them because I just remembered everything right at that moment. I like that idea that we rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, but not for shows, but specifically to get everything done and every arrangement done. And whatever we don't like, we stop doing. And whatever we think it's not working, we change it. So I really enjoyed that idea, and he helped me a lot with being a new producer, but the other guys were really not into that. And he was adamant. He was like, I'm not gonna be able to record everything without rehearsing, and I don't want to record half-ass recordings. And I agree with him, because if I'm producing, I don't want half-ass recordings either. I want the person to be focused and to do the best that they can. So didn't like that idea. At the end of the day, they agreed to it. So we started rehearsing, and it took 2-3 months for us to start thinking of recording. And during that time, we had shows that we had to do and rehearsals for the shows and everything. It was July, it wasn't June, it was July. We were working on it for August, September, October, and then in November, if I'm not mistaken, in the middle of November, we started working on the guides for the drumming. When we were done with at least the first ones, then in the middle of November, we went to the studio to record the drums. And then I don't remember why we took so long. I think other things happened in the way. We didn't record anything for drums until this month. So December was gone, January too, but at least right now we have all the drums recorded. So at least that we have. But we were talking about this in July. This episode is gonna be released at the end of March, but I'm recording it at the end of February. And it's in the end of February, and we're still in a recording phase. So we wanted to record this so much in July last year, thinking that we were gonna take a month or 2 to record, and that wasn't what happened. And that's what happens. This is what I've learned, that whatever you think it's gonna take, it's gonna be 3-4 times that thing that you think it's gonna take. Right now I'm talking about time, but it can be effort or anything. So if you think it's gonna take 2 months to record everything and be done with all the recording and the mixing and everything, I think we thought maybe 3 months. So if you think you're gonna be done in 3 months, then at least double that. But I would say to triple that because that's what's happening now. So we're coming up on March. In March, it's gonna be 8 months since the first time we decided to record. So this is what I've learned, that it takes way longer to record and to release. And that's why people take so long to release albums, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of work. And people have other things to do. They have lives, they have jobs. And if they are full-time musicians, they have shows, they have shootings, they have other things that they need to be doing along with the recording and the songs. And I admire them a lot after not only being a musician myself, but being in the other side, producing people, because I really enjoy being in this other role that I'm not directly responsible for the songs. And it's been really fun, even though I think sometimes some things must be done this way. Now I'm beginning to embrace some other part of all this process and of myself, that I just let it be. And okay, you don't have to control everything. You think this is the best thing that we can do, but maybe someone else have a good idea that could sound better. Let's hear it. If it's not good, then we'll throw it away, but at least let's hear it. And I've been so excited to do that because it's really opened up my mind. And I felt even more like a musician now because I really enjoy being a musician, enjoy what I'm doing. I don't think I'm an imposter anymore. I know that there are times that I'm gonna still think that I'm an imposter because all of us go through that. But generally speaking, I feel like I'm a musician now because I really enjoy the act of thinking of arrangements and notes and what this part is gonna sound like. What should we do to make this part be more intense or less intense, or more heavy or less heavy? And this part of producing has made me like it even more, but has made me a better musician also. That's what I was trying to say. So that's another thing that I've learned, that I can do this, that I really enjoy the process. I think I didn't enjoy the process that much because I thought I was an imposter, that I was doing something that I didn't know how to do. And now I know that I know how to do. So feeling confident on myself, it makes me feel empowered, and it makes me feel more creative, being open to new paths that maybe I wouldn't be open to before because I would be really scared to try something that I didn't know how to do. Now I don't do that. I'm like in a David Bowie's phase that I'm gonna try whatever I want because that's the fun in doing music. You're trying something new that you don't know how to do. That's what I'm doing with my piano right now because I don't really play the piano. I started learning the piano, but I'm not a good player. But I don't care. I'm just like, now I'm gonna start playing the piano and writing in the piano. So I wrote a song in the piano. I had already written part of a song in the piano, I think one or two, but not the whole song. And even though it was, of course, a simple thing, I really enjoyed doing this because literally I was just walking around to have a walk, to do some exercise and just clear my head. And then the songs that I was working, this song specifically, would not leave my mind. So during the whole walk, I was just composing in my head. I don't think I've ever done that. I did some of those things, especially with melodies and stuff, but not like the piano part. I was writing the piano part, humming to myself, humming over and over and over again because I didn't have my phone right there. So I had to hum all the way home. So I didn't want to forget. So I kept humming it. And it became like a mantra or something. And when I sat in the piano, I thought it was gonna be way easier than it was to get it from my head into the piano. But eventually I was able to, and this made me really happy because, oh my God, I hadn't done that in my life, and it was the first time, and it was something that I really enjoyed. All of that came from what I've learned from producing another artist, because I see the other artists, other musicians playing and creating and having ideas, and they're not me. So if I'm open to their ideas, then suddenly many other new ideas are all over the place for me to catch. So that was a really nice thing. Also, something that I've been learning, but I still have to learn this because it is really difficult for me, is patience. Because I want things to happen the way I think they should happen. So it's not just creatively like I was speaking about, but the fact that we decided that the EP should be released in April. So I want everyone to do everything possible and everyone have to focus so we can release the EP in April. But it's not like that because it's not me. I can't expect that from other people. People are gonna do their parts in their time. But at the same time, I know I'd have to at least have some control there, being a producer, and not let just people do whatever they want, whenever they want. Because if we want to release something, we have to have a timeline. Even though it takes a little more time than we were expecting, we have to work inside a timeline, because if we don't, then this is never gonna happen. And I know that from my experiences with my own music, because it's really hard to be the musician, the creative, and the producer, the logical person, say you have to finish this by July or something. Myself being both people already made me crazy a lot of times in the past. So I know that from experience. So I know that we can't expect that the people are gonna do exactly what we want whenever we want, but it's a balance. We also have to be incisive and tell them, I understand that you have other priorities, but if this is one of them, then you should make time to do your part. It's a difficult thing to find the balance, but I think it's a good experience and a good exercise for me, because if I understand how to do that in my comfort zone, that is music, then I learn how to do that in other more challenging parts of my life. So this is something that I'm still learning, and it's a good thing to learn. I think that's it. It's a lot. I've learned a lot. But I think those were the things that I think it was more precious and more important for me. At the end of the day, I didn't think I could produce people. I think I could only produce my songs and my music. But I've learned in the past year that I can, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the process, and people seem to enjoy it too. They like that I just go there in the drum room and I start to dance and to jump with the drummer. He liked it a lot. He says it makes him feel more energetic, so it puts more soul into the drumming, and it made me happy. I enjoy that feedback because not everyone likes that, and I understand. There are people like myself that would prefer to be alone in a room so they can give it their best. And being a producer is knowing to deal with each one of the musicians differently and trying to get to that spot where it's perfect for me and it's perfect for them. I'm still in the beginning of this career, but I just learned that I enjoy it a lot, and it makes me really excited, and it makes me really creative. So that's what I've learned, and I hope that you took some out of it. I hope that these things that I've learned and these stories that I've told you, they haven't inspired you to go make some art, even though you're not a musician. I hope at least gave you a little incentive and a bit of inspiration for you to go make your own art. As usual, thank you very much for being here and for staying until the end, listening to me. If you liked this conversation, this episode, please leave a like. That's something that is free and it really helps us here in the channel. If you like this kind of conversations and music and art and everything else that I talk about here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would be forever grateful. Also, feel free to leave a comment and tell me what you've learned from a recent experience doing something creative. It doesn't have to be music. I'm gonna answer every one of your comments. Last but not least, if you enjoy these conversations and the videos that I, not only the podcast, but the videos that I upload here in the channel, please come join us in the newsletter, my Substack. The link is in the description, and I would love to see you there. So that's it for now, and see you in the next video.